Notion can be a great tool to organize and manage your team and business. As your team grows, so can your management system with Notion. You can track everything from your business operating procedures, project task lists, and more. In this video, we wanted to share 10 top tips if you're looking to use Notion as a team or business. If you find this video useful, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. The first tip is to set up a company wiki. So no matter how big your team or business is, it can be really useful to keep a wiki which can contain all of your company's mission, values, and also some kinds of operating procedures, things like vacation policies, benefit policies, and so on. And Notion is great for this because of this wiki feature. So you might be wondering, what is the difference between a wiki and a Notion page? For wiki pages, what's unique is that if we, for example, open up the morale events, you'll notice that there is a verification here. And you can basically set up verification to be until 90 days, 30 days, indefinitely, and so on, just to make sure that things are always current inside of your wiki. The other key feature for wikis is that it always has kind of a structure in that if you have a database, you can always see all of the pages as well. If you set up, for example, the morale events here, it's also going to be a page here. So let's say that we added inside of the company updates a new page. It's going to actually add down here. So after that, you can move it around, but basically it shows you a page structure that's really easy to read alongside a potential database view as well. And here you can also see all pages like this. You can also see my pages, which you're the owner of, like this. Another useful feature is that you can search throughout your wiki as well, like this with the search bar. And if you're interested in creating your own wiki, it's very easy to convert your databases into wikis. So if you have an empty page like this and you want to turn this into a wiki, it's very simple to do so. You can click the top right hand corner 3 dots, click turn into wiki, and then you can basically just try it out. So now you've basically turned on your wiki page. And inside here, let's say we add a new page for vacation policies. You'll notice that we have a verification here as well as a tag. And you can also add additional properties here as you'd like. So as you can see, the structure of a wiki page is slightly different from a normal database page. And then if we go back, you'll see the vacation policies listed here. You can actually add, for example, headings. So let's say that policies, and then you can type a divider, and then you can start creating your page layout. If you like to see your pages as a database, you can also type / and then look for a linked view of the database wiki page. And you can now see your wiki page like this. You can also click here to see all pages, pages I own, and so on. So in this way, you can actually set up a view like this to see your wiki pages, and you can hide your database title. And basically, you can format your page here the way that you wish. And if you want to keep things simple, you can simply just add your pages inside of here very easily and have all of your policies and guidelines and all of these things that are relevant for your company. So the next thing we wanted to talk about is Teamspaces. Teamspaces are a really great tool in Notion so that you can keep your various departments of your team or business into separate locations so that the people who are related to marketing don't need to see information about the development team, for example. So this is what makes Teamspaces very useful. So if you want to add a new Teamspace, you can simply click the plus sign here, and you can basically add an icon and a name. And you can also set permission levels so that anyone can see and join this Teamspace, or whether it's a closed Teamspace where people can see it but not join it. And finally, if you have the business plan, only members can see this Teamspace exists. So you can also do things like that. And the other thing is that Teamspaces allow you to set permission levels really easily. So everyone in that Teamspaces can see everything in that page structure. So if you have different departments, the easiest way to get started with a Teamspace is basically just to start adding Teamspaces for each department. So this would be marketing, for example, or development. So you can add various departments into each Teamspace. And when you do have a Teamspace, you can go ahead and click the three dots here, go to Teamspace settings. And inside here, you can basically see who has membership to this Teamspace, as well as a link so that you can easily add people. You can also check your security settings and a general, so you can see everything here. So let's go ahead and add a sample Teamspace, and we're going to create a new Teamspace. And once you have your sample Teamspace, you can start adding pages to it. So one useful page to have inside of your Teamspace could be a Teamspace home. So everything about the team, your resources, and so on relating to that specific team. After that, you can also start adding pages by clicking the plus sign. So for example, this one could be a task dashboard. So this task dashboard could be for your team that's in the sample Teamspace. So in that way, you can start organizing your pages inside of your Teamspace so that everyone in that particular team can access each of the dedicated pages inside. The next tip is to utilize all of the collaborative features Notion offers. So some things you can use in Notion for your team is, for example, if you go to the top right hand corner, three dots, you can do something called suggested edits. If we turn this on, someone in your team can start adding new text here. And then what can be done is to turn this off, and then someone else in your team can click this, and if it looks good, they can accept it or even reply to this edit. So it's really easy to edit inside of Notion as a team without actually changing the content directly. If you're happy with it, you can click accept, and then the new text ends up here. Some other collaborative elements that you can use in Notion is to highlight a certain part of the text, and then you can comment on it. So if you comment on this, you can add certain comments based on highlights, which is really useful to highlight exactly what you're commenting on. The other key things about collaborating in Notion is that several people can be typing into here at the same time, and it can be happening simultaneously. So there's no need to have one person edit and then someone else coming in, but you can actually do this in real time, which makes it very powerful. Notion also has a lot of unique share settings. So if we go to the share button here, and now you can see that since this is inside of the Teamspace, everyone at sample Teamspace can have full access. And the full access can be edited to be can edit, can comment, can view, no access. So there are various access levels depending on what you want. So if it's a page you don't want anyone to edit, you can just simply do can view so that they can simply use this as a visual resource. Otherwise, you can also do full access so everyone has the power to actually make edits to the document. The next thing we wanted to show you is how to use some useful automations. So if you have a plus plan or beyond in Notion, you can actually add a database automations that make it really powerful inside of team and business use cases. So if we, for example, type /board to create a board view database, plus new board, we can just create something very simple. And here you can see that there is an assign property so that you can assign people who belong inside of your workspace. So one thing that you can consider with a database like this is to use this automation feature. And in particular, something that's really useful is to assign people depending on the progress of the task. So if we go ahead and create a new status, we can go ahead and click status and edit property. And let's say that there's one called in review. And when it's in review, we actually want to assign it to a certain person. So for that, you can go ahead and click the lightning mark here, add trigger, so that the status changes to, for example, in review. You want to actually assign it to a particular person. So we can click assign, and then we can, for example, assign this to the organized notebook, done, and then we can create this automation. So now if this card goes into review, it's automatically going to assign it to the organized notebook. So this can save a lot of time so that if someone has a unique role, depending on the status of a task, you can automatically assign it. And it's also going to send them a notification if they have that turned on. A few other useful automations inside of Notion, if we go ahead and click this three dots here to edit it, is if we click set another step, you can see that you can actually send specific notifications. So you can send specific notifications to certain people. So this is also a really useful feature. So if you need to be notified about different progresses in your task management, this can be really great. A few other steps that you could add is to send Slack notifications. And if you're working as a team or small business, it's really likely you might be using Slack. So this can also be a super useful feature for automation inside of Teams. The next thing we wanted to show you is how to use Notion for project and task management. This is where Notion really excels as well. So here we have our ultimate project and task manager. We have an advanced version with sprints. So as you can see, we've added everything from project, sprint planning, sprint board and task, metrics, statistics. So with the new Notion charts, you can see various charts. And there's also calendars. You can see your team, and you can see planning and review and resources. And then you can click return home. So one thing that's really great about Notion is that you can really mold your project and task management to your own needs. In this case, we think that this could be a really useful structure for project and task management, where if you open up a project, you can basically see all of your descriptions, planning and reviews, project and tasks, and resources inside. And all of these have relational database properties so that you have everything connected to each other. So for example, if we click this one, and if you wanted to see your project research summary, you can open this up and you'll notice that it's tagged to project 1. So everything is interconnected, and that's what we really like Notion for when it comes to organizing businesses and teams. The next thing we wanted to cover is meetings inside of Notion. So if you have any kind of business or team, it's most likely that you have meetings with your team members, meetings with potential clients, and there are a lot of meetings involved. And if so, Notion can be a really great place to track these. So here we have a sample meeting tracker. And what's so good about Notion with meetings is that if we click new here, we can basically open one up, and then you can add things like tags. You can add things like files and media if there's anything there that you'd like to add. You can also add follow-up dates, a location for that meeting. So if it's on Zoom, you can put a link here, or even a Google Maps link. You can also add the people who might be attending the meeting and a status. And all of these are really customizable. The other really unique thing about Notion for meetings is that you can add database templates. So for example, if this is a client meeting, it might require a different set of notes than a team internal meeting. So for client meetings, you can put heading 3 and add some questions for the client. And then you can put bullet points like this so that you can see exactly what questions you have for that client and what kind of answers you got and so on. So this is really customizable. If we click out and let's say that we add a new one here, open it up. Now you can click client meeting, and then everything that you added inside of the template is going to show up here. So in this way, you can save a lot of time by adding these kinds of database templates to your meetings. So we highly recommend meetings inside of Notion to really track them. So the next tip we have is to utilize Notion AI. Notion AI can save a lot of time with content creation, for example, if you need to make marketing materials, but it also helps you to summarize meeting notes as well. So if we open up this sample meeting here, where we have some notes from this meeting, you can go ahead and click here to add an AI summary. So Notion has built-in AI summary feature inside of databases, which makes it really powerful. So here you can basically see the client meetings summary all the way at the top without having to write this. And someone who didn't attend the meeting can easily see the summary here all the way on this table view. Another element that can be useful is if you have a team across different languages, you can also click this plus sign here and add AI translation. So if you wanted to translate this to, for example, Spanish, you could click Spanish and then you can translate the AI summary like this into Spanish and try on this view, save changes. So now it can be easier for Spanish speakers to also understand the AI summary of this meeting note. So there is a lot you can do with Notion AI, and the fact that it's built in can be a game changer for productivity and workflows. The next thing we wanted to show you is all the integrations Notion has as that can be a game changer for your team and business. So many teams and businesses use a whole bunch of tools, and it's really important to make sure that they interconnect with each other. In this aspect, Notion is quite strong because there's many connections you can make with different kinds of tools. So if you're in the settings in your Notion, you can go to connections and then find all of the connections you can add. So for example, you can add things like Google Drive link previews, you can add GitHub link previews, Figma link previews, and all kinds of things are really useful in Notion to connect. So be sure to check out the entire list here to make sure that you're maximizing your Notion connections. And if you see something like sync, it also does syncing. So that can be also very great if you want to see your information from other tools. In particular, one of our favorites personally is the Slack integration. So you can do things like preview links, you can view, insert, and update content. So basically you can do things like add a Slack message into a Notion database to create a task. So there's a lot of workflows that you can create here, and connections can be really useful. The next tip we have for you is to utilize Notion Home. So if we go to the sidebar here and we go to home, you can see a home page for all of your upcoming events. And these events can be connected also to Google Calendar and certain Notion databases that you connect through Notion Calendar. The other thing that's great is that you can see all of your tasks throughout different databases in your My Task list. So this can be also a great feature. You can also add certain database views into your home views that you can tag here and pin. And if you go all the way to the top right hand corner, you can also change the default page. You can also show and hide widgets and do a little bit of customization here. We hope that Notion improves in Notion Home even further, but this can be a great resource for your team. So each team member, if you have members in your Notion workspace, can have dedicated home pages so that they can each personally track their upcoming events and their tasks and so on. Finally, we wanted to give a few tips about pricing in Notion. If you have a very small team, less than 10 members, if you're on a really tight budget, we could recommend you to start with the free plan and then invite in your team members as guests instead of as a member. So the moment someone is a member in Notion, they are going to be charged $10 per seat per month. And the benefits for being a member is basically in the Teamspaces, certain share settings, and the fact that it can be a bit easier to manage your team and what they can access. And not only that, they can also access their dedicated home, and they can also access private pages. So it basically turns into sort of their own workspace connected to the teams. It's the benefit of having a member. However, if you really have a small team, you're not working with too many pages, then it could just be adequate to have up to 10 guests inside of your workspace. On the other hand, if you're looking to scale your business and need more features, the business plan and the enterprise plan can be a great option as well. So the enterprise plan, for example, gives you advanced security and control. So this can be super important as your business gets bigger. For business plan, it's also really useful because it has the private team spaces. So here you can see the private team space is only available on business and enterprise. And what this means is that if the team space contains sensitive information that you don't want everyone to see, this can be really useful. So it can be things about company planning and performance reviews. So these you might want to hide. And in that case, you can only do that with business and enterprise. A few other things to keep in mind as you're looking into pricing for your team and business with Notion is that the charts are only one workspace for individuals, but if you have the plus plan, business plans, enterprise plans, you can have unlimited charts, which can provide a really great visual of key data within your Notion databases. And another really important one is that you can add custom automations starting from the Plus plan. So this is another really great feature that you're missing out if you're only on the free plan. However, if you're really just starting out, the free plan does include quite a lot already. So this can be a really great starting point if you're looking to scale, and also if you're looking to just try out Notion and see if it could work for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in some of our templates for businesses and teams, we'll leave the link to them in the description. If you'd like help setting up your business with Notion, we're also available to help with custom consulting services. Feel free to let us know if you have any questions or comments, and we hope to see you all in the next video.